someone is in need of hope. You can feel it in the atmosphere. The spirit of Crusader. Keeping the universe safe and secure. Forge the future you want to see. The A1 Spirit from Crusader Industries.
Hi everyone. Have we had a good morning looking at cool stuff? Great. My name's John Crew. I'm the vehicle director here at Cloud Imperium Games.
And my name is Ben Curtis. I am the vehicle art director at CIG.
So we're going to spend the next 45 minutes talking ship. We're going to show you some cool stuff that you've hopefully seen, some cool stuff that you're not supposed to have seen, but you probably already have, and some cool stuff, again, you're not supposed to have seen, but what you've seen is wrong. So hopefully we can clear that up for you all. Right, so that was the A1 Spirit trailer. Pretty cool video. But we're now going to do a bit of a slightly deeper dive into the actual art and visuals of the ship.
As we move into the heart of the ship, this area is kind of like really dominated by those 10 sci-fi bombs. And then we go straight into engineering, where you find the rest of the ship components that it needs. Up front, we've got a completely fully featured habitation area, suit lockers, weapon lockers, pod beds, everything you're going to need. And then right at the cockpit, we have a two-pilot cockpit, and I think the Crusader engineers have done a fantastic job of putting everything that the pilot needs right at their fingertips. So, you know, in the heat of battle, you kind of might just eke out that advantage. Exterior-wise, it's classic Crusader. We've got our recessed weapons. We've got our rear-mounted remote turret. And then underneath is all business. We've got the missile racks, and we've got the big bomb bays. And I think overall, Crusader have done it again. They've done a amazing job of packaging something that's like super feature rich and something stylish, sleek, looks fast, but still super aggressive. And then here is one last look. Oh, why not? Okay, that was one last look of the interior.
There. So we had a really cool cutaway that you half saw. I'm sure we can show you that again later. If you like what you saw there, that is available now on that link and a QR code there that hopefully takes you to the right place. So that is available in Alpha 321, which went live Thursday. I've honestly lost track of time the last few days. So yeah, that's the current. Let's talk about something a bit further in the past. So we have a timeline here from the today all the way through to today in game. And throughout that time period, we have our manufacturers in lore, starting with RSI in the very near future, going all the way through to Mirai, which is this year in-game. And over that, we have some very old ships, ships that people think are quite old. We have the Hornet, we have the Aurora, and we have the Gladius. However, as you can see, there is quite a gap from the current day to these old ships. So let's talk about one that is a bit older than that. So, the RSI Zeus.
So in 2130, in 2130, RSI made some major kind of advancements in quantum technology. They developed, or they released, the first ship that was kind of available to the mass market that had quantum capability. This kind of mid-range explorer really put RSI at the kind of forefront of ship development. Now, it was a really good thing, it really kind of boosted them as a company, but it wasn't kind of all good. The original RSI Zeus had some major issues with its hull integrity. That being said, there's always kind of been this demand for RSI to release the Zeus. It's kind of had this cult following that's grown up over the years. I'm kind of very happy to announce today that RSI have kind of taken that challenge on board. They've developed a whole new vehicle that is designed to ferry a whole new generation of travelers across our universe. Visually, it's something that pays homage back to the original Zeus and something that's really is justified to have that name. And I'm even happier to say it exceeds all current safety standards and all our current ship production techniques.
So, do you want to have a look at the all-new RSI Zeus Mk II? Okay then. Here it is. So, we are going to hand over to Elwin and Mark to go through this, and you can see there's 3 of them there. So we're going to do a bit of a deeper dive onto these 3 ships now. So, over to Mark and Elwin.
Let's give them a welcome. Come on, let's go, let's go.
Hi there, everyone. My name is Mark Gibson. I'm the lead vehicle content designer at Cloud Imperium Games.
And I'm Owen Batchelor. And I'm Owen Batchelor, vehicle art director in North America. What do you guys think? Awesome. All right, well, let's take some time now and take a look at this classic RSI design and see how we've reimagined it.
So, when we decided we wanted to tackle the Zeus, we had to consider what direction RSI would take it in if they were going to do it today. We couldn't just remake the original Zeus because, although it was obviously a massive piece of history, all it was really used for was transporting and moving around. So we had to consider exactly what we wanted to do with the ship. In the end, we decided to go for 3 variants, allowing you to pick which way you want to actually play the game. So what we're going to do is talk about those variants that we decided on in the end and go into a bit more detail with them. First of all, we have the ES. The ES is the essential. It's the long-range exploration version of the Zeus. It's designed to let you go out for a long time and explore the universe. Next up, we have the Mark. The Mark is the bounty hunter version. This is there for you so you can actually go out, find your targets, and bring them back. It's also been purposely outfitted so that you have all the tools that you need to disable, capture, and bring them home. Finally, the last version we're going to talk about is the CL, the Clipper. Might be a name people are familiar with if they know much about maritime. This is the cargo version of the Zeus Mk II. This is designed so that you can move your goods around the universe.
Of the 3 variants, the Zeus Essential is the one that harkens back the most to the original design, with the original white on black paint job and the vertical stabilizers. We also worked to maintain the silhouette of the original, but brought that forward to modern day RSI design with tons of technical detail and layered panels. And on the underside, the landing gear and the underslung turret, as well as the entrance ladder, fold in perfectly flush, leaving behind a super smooth underbelly, just like the original design.
But you probably all want to see what the inside looks like, so let's have a closer look. Despite the sleek and slim body of the Zeus, we've been able to pack a lot into it to give everything you need when you're doing the deep space exploration. You have a fairly comfortable habitation recreation area so that when you're out away from home, it's not too unpleasant. In addition to that, the rear room has a 32 SU cargo capacity, as well as being able to fit a cyclone, so if you do decide to land on our planet, you can have a look around. Talking about the loadout, it's a ship designed for 3 crew. It comes with 4 size 2 shield generators, 2 size 2 power plants, 2 size 2 coolers, and 2 size 4 pilot-controlled weapons. And obviously the lower turret that Elva mentioned earlier is a size 3 remote turret.
Now, the Zeus Mark was always designed from the beginning to be a sleek and aggressive bounty hunter. As such, the black paint will help you stay hidden in the shadows until you're ready to strike. We've also redesigned the spine in order to embed an EMP and a quantum dampener, which allows us on the art side to really crank up the level of detail on the exterior. We've also added a second remote turret on the top.
Looking at the interior of the Mark, you see that the habitation's taken a little bit of a hit. It moved forward, but what we've been able to add in exchange for that is a massive armory. Let you take all the different weapons and equipment you might need while you're tracking your target along the verse. Looking into the rear, we actually have a dedicated area just for the actual bounty hunter pods, similar to what you'll see in the Cutlass Blue. So you can stack up the pods and take multiple people back with you. It has less SCU than the ES. It only has 16 SCU. And it does have a different loadout with the components, only having 3 size 2 shield generators. Like Ellen said, it does have a top-mounted forward-facing turret so that you can put the pressure on the target as you're chasing them. The EMP and QD drive are designed to stop the target escaping once you've caught up with them.
Now, because the Zeus Clipper focuses on hauling cargo, we've decided to lean into the industrial aesthetic. We've covered the exterior with a warning strip paint job,
on 2950
and we've covered the exterior with more technical detail and armor plating. In addition to that, it comes with a remote tractor beam, which is mounted on the rear to the side of the ramp to make it easier to haul cargo in and out of the cargo hold. We've also added thrust capacity to the base of the wings.
As you can see, there is an absolutely massive rear to it compared to the others. The habitation areas have been massively pushed so that you don't get much space, but we can get way more cargo in. It actually has 4 times the cargo capacity of the S, coming in at 128 SUs of cargo. This one also features 3 size 2 shield generators, and like Al mentioned, it has a size 3 tractor beam to make it much easier to get those cargo containers in and out as you're actually playing. What do you think? So, last year we introduced the Spirit, and anyone that may be playing on live the last couple of days might have seen a new ship adding to the verse, the A1. We hope to follow a similar route with the Zeus, where we announce it today, and then in about a year's time, ready to reveal to the public to actually play with. But this isn't just a concept. We're not just going to show you some images. The Zeus is actually in active white box development right now. Do you just want to have a look? Shall we? Yeah, okay.
Yeah. All right, so as you guys have seen with the Spirit, and with the many ships we've released thus far, our ships can, when they're finished, look absolutely gorgeous. But before any of them get to that point, they have to go through a very specific development process, and this is the first stage in that process. We call this white box. At this point, we've taken the concept, ripped it to shreds, and then reassembled it and plugged it all back together within the editor so that we can get a real good look at what players are gonna see when they finally get this game. At this stage, with the Zeus, we've already ripped out all the thrusters, we've ripped out the landing gear, the turret, the seats, the beds, all of the interior spaces, plugged those guys back in, and we have what you see here. So again, the beginning of the process. At this point, we're able to jump in, start throwing in cargo, interacting with doors, getting in and out of beds, maybe in and out of toilets, and just getting an overall sense of what it feels like to interact with the vehicle. And it is very common that in this stage, we will make some adjustments from the original plan. As an example, on this ship, we've just made the decision to expand the center corridor, add a little bit more space to the rooms. And as a result, that's gonna make it much smoother experience for players to traverse the interior of the ship, as well as for AI to traverse the interior of the ship. We've also expanded the main airlock that leads to the enter-exit ladder. And up here in the cockpit, we've separated the co-pilot seats a tad bit just to allow players to get in and out a little easier. So with White Box, not the prettiest stage in the process, but it is essential that we nail this because it means we'll be able to deliver a beautiful ship that is also extremely fun to play.
So that was the RSI Zeus in the 3 variants. Obviously, as the screen says behind me, it's available now on the Star Citizen website. You all follow that URL or the QR code behind me. Now, we've just talked about the ship with the longest legacy in the universe. It was the first ship with the quantum travel. Let's change pace a little bit and talk about a much newer ship. We're going to talk about the Cutter. Good little ship. So, obviously, last year, IEE, we unveiled the Cutter, and you guys seem to love it. Some interesting information about it. It was actually the single most popular straight-to-flight ready ship we've ever released. You guys really, really liked it. In addition to that, it's actually the best-selling Drake ship to date. But what people didn't know, and we kept a very good guarded secret that no one managed to figure out, no one, it was always meant to be a family of 3. Now, what everyone is already familiar with is the base. That's the version that's out in the universe right now that you're already enjoying. What we're going to do today, though, is we're going to talk about the next variant in the family, the Scout.
All right, let's just take a minute and sort of enjoy the incredible work that the art team has done pushing this guy out. When the original when the original Cutter was released, it helped us to refine the Drake aesthetic. And now with the variants, we'll be able to add a unique identity to each version. On the Scout, we've decided to replace the main thrusters with a dual thruster system. And you'll see here we've also added a radar dish to the top, which relates directly to the scanning gameplay that comes with this ship. In addition to that, we have a series of exterior bottom modifications to just push that flavor a little bit further. And you'll see here a transition between the default and the Scout, so you can clearly see the differences. On the interior, we've expanded the rear section of the ship in order to include a dedicated standing scanning station, which will show up here in a second. Along with that, we've also increased the space in the rear to house the larger components that are necessary to support that gameplay. Now, expanding the rear did encroach into the habitation, but we were able to rearrange the components in that room so that nothing was lost in the transition. And on the cockpit, it's the same cockpit that you all know and love from the original Cutter. From this view, you'll more clearly see the shift that we had to make in the rear in order to support the gameplay that we're trying to achieve. We're really proud of what the team has done with this ship, and we hope you like the Scout as much as we do.
So, obviously, we've just introduced the Scout. What are the main differences between the base? It is a variant, after all. So, the first big difference is the radar. It has a size 2 radar, and to supply that, it comes with a size 2 power plant and a size 2 cooler. Getting tripped on my own words. as well as the dedicated scan terminal that Elwin mentioned earlier. Obviously, as you saw, habitation got a little bit cozier, and unfortunately it has lost 2 SCU compared to the base, so it only has 2 SCU cargo capacity instead of the 3. Now, what we also want to do is talk a little bit more about the future of scanning, if people are interested in hearing about that. So what is the future of scanning? We'll touch on it lightly. At the moment, there are 2 main ways for you to interact with the scanning gameplay loops. The first one's obviously the scan, and the second one's the ping system. Both of these are going to be merged into a single system known as a scan wave. When you send the scan wave out, if you get any successful pings, what will happen is it will immediately populate your HUD with an AR marker, giving you information about what you've been able to scan, as well as starting to give you far more interesting information than you get now, rather than just the name of the ship. The underlying system will work on the signature system, similar to what it does today, and there are 2 main scans. There is the quick scan. The quick scan is just a low version of it. It has a very small impact on your own signal output, so if you want to stay a little bit more covert and potentially not be seen looking at something you shouldn't, you can use that one instead. The main benefits are small increase to your actual passive detection range, as well as being able to detect things that maybe are a little fainter than you should be able to see. This has a decent amount of cutting through interference, but not phenomenal. The other version is the charge scan. The charge scan is the big scan. Now, this will actually allow you to detect things up to quantum boost range, which is way, way further than the current passive detection range. And not only that, but it'll actually drop a marker allowing you to jump straight to that location for whatever it is that you found. Now, you don't want to be jumping in blind. And as I said, it's going to give you way more information than it did before. Some examples, but not limited to this, are things like, whatever it is it charging a quantum drive? Is it firing? Is the shields generating? Does it have any shields? Is it perhaps charging an EMP? Maybe it's got a snare up trying to catch you. It gives you that additional information so you can make the decision whether you actually want to get to that location. That's just a brief glimpse into the future of scanning and what our vision is for it. Right now, the Cutter Scout is actually in 321. It's available. If you go to that address or go to our website, QR code, it's actually in the universe right now. You don't need to wait for a patch for that. I've been Mark.
And I'm Elwin. And before we step off, if you haven't had a chance to get one of these hats, this one in particular is signed by 7 members of the ship development team. And if you want it, during the meet and greet, if you can tell me the name of the 7 people who signed this, all of who are in attendance here, by the way, today, the first person to give me those names gets to keep it. Other than that, thanks, guys, and have a great CitizenCon.
Small hit for you. John Crew is one of those names. Well, fantastic, guys, everyone. We're going to hand you back to John and Ben. They've got a few more surprises for you.
Right. So, as Mark said there, scanning stuff is coming in the future. We didn't show a lot of it because it does sort of turn up in some other teams' panels, and we didn't want to steal their glory a day early. So I highly recommend sticking around for both the UI one and the flight one tomorrow. So, we've talked about the past, we've talked about the present. Let's talk about the future. So, here is a big block of squares that represents our backlog. So, each one of these squares is a ship or a vehicle. All the light blue ones are all the ones we have released to date. All those gray ones are the ones that we have not done yet. The dark blue ones are the ones that will be in your hands by the end of the year. So, we have over 200 vehicles for us to support as a vehicle content team. For those of you that are trying to do the maths in your head right now going, that's the wrong number, this includes every single vehicle that we've ever shown to you, whether that's in a Squadron 42 visual tease or like a trailer. Some of them are obviously Squadron exclusives. Some of them are going to be NPC exclusives. We still have to support them all. So every vehicle in the game, we have our hands on, and we do a lot of work to support them for you. Not the only thing we do. We obviously introduce new content like the Mirai Fury. We deliver previous promised content. And as you'll see today and tomorrow, we do a lot of gameplay support. So obviously we help out. Ships are like the heroes of the game. You saw in the resource network engineering panel how that's going to impact ships. You will have seen, if you've been paying super close attention, some UI elements to do with maps. Stay tuned for that. We do all that. So we do a lot of work across all aspects of both projects. And to do all that, we need to do a few things.
Okay, yeah, so John's talked a bit about the backlog. I'm going to kind of take a little bit, how are we going to deliver this? So in April 2023, we actually kicked off a new ship team in our newest studio, Turbulent, based out of Montreal. Yeah, go Canada. So we've now got 5 artists, or vehicle artists, 1 vehicle designer, 1 embedded QA tester, and 1 producer. And that kind of gives us everything we need to start bringing content out of another location. And it also means that we now have kind of reps globally for the vehicle content team in all 5 of our studios. What's the really nice thing about that is it kind of opens up a new pool of a kind of talent that we can pick from. And it should really help us to deliver some more content to the game. And you've actually just seen the first 2 ships out of that studio. So the Scout variant and the Zeus are both being developed by our Montreal team. Yeah, they're doing great. We're going to look a little bit more in depth at the kind of the art team and how we've grown over the years. You can see from this graph, this is our kind of like live numbers of how many vehicle artists we have dedicated to the project. You can see there's a nice trajectory going up. And with more team members, that also means we get kind of like not just more people to throw at stuff, but we get more experience, we get more knowledge. And that's, that allows us to kind of tackle our larger, kind of more complex ships. You will notice there in 2022, there is a little dip. And unfortunately, when that happens, that has kind of real consequences on what we are able to do as a team. I think, less people, so less power to put on stuff, but also some of that knowledge leaves us. With that leads us to have to make some kind of pretty hard and heavy decisions about what we're working on. And I think most recently, and probably most well known, is the Banu Merchantman. Yeah. Now, we're going to take a quick look at where we got to with the Merchantman, just to show where we were up to before that happened in 2022. So that video shows where we got up to with the merchantman. You can see we'd finished white box. We were kind of into grey box. Some areas were further than others. And I think one of the best things about working at a company like Cloud Empyrean Games is that we're able to be pretty honest and pretty open with our development. One of the biggest questions we get is, what's up with the merchantman? Where is it? Why did it stop? And the merchantman brought a lot of unique challenges to us. It was a completely new art style, something that's very, very different from what we normally do with our human manufacturers. I think, we could have paused other ships. We could have moved some of our other artists onto the merchantman. But with the kind of exodus of our kind of senior team in 2022, we didn't just lose people. We lost a lot of the knowledge that went into building out that white box and really kind of delivering that art style. What we decided to do at the time is, rather than try and rush something out and just get something out to get it done, we looked at where we were, and for us, the most important thing was growing our team back up. We wanted to invest in our team and use our seniors and our kind of managers to help get us up to the point where we can tackle multiple large and capital ships at one time. I think the graph previously kind of showed that we've got the head numbers now, and now it's about onboarding our new staff members. It's about skilling them up and getting them to the point. And I would absolutely love to be stood here on stage and going, yeah, look at the merchantman, it's amazing, like it's done. But we're not at that point just yet. We do see all the comments, I do see all the notes about it, and I absolutely want to get this ship out and done. I just wanted to be open and honest as to where we are up to with the development.
Yeah, to add to that, it is probably the most question I get asked at any event, and I really want to get it done, get it out for you guys, but we don't want to give you a half-baked thing. We want to give you a really great product that we can all be proud of, and it's delivered alongside gameplay. So, let's talk about something else quickly. So, Squadron 42 vehicles. How many of you have an Idris of some kind? Right. So, we plan to deliver the Idris alongside Squadron. And that doesn't mean just the M. We're going to deliver the M, the P, and the K kit all together in one delivery. Javelin owners, I'm afraid, you're going to have to wait a bit longer after that. Is obviously the bigger ship players can own. And we have recently looked at what is left to deliver on it. We've got plans. There will be modularity with it. And yeah, that will come after Squadron releases. And those of you who also have the Vanduul Scythe, Glaive, Blade, after Squadron releases, you will also get the updated models as well for that. Right. Next.
Okay. No kind of ship panel at a CitizenCon event is kind of done without looking at what's coming up next. Previously, we used to do these kind of like silhouettes, but we kind of always felt they were a little bit predictable. We ended up just making most of them anyway. So last year we changed things up. We asked what manufacturer do we want to see make our next large mining ship. And you're going to see more about that at IEE next month. But again, this year, we decided just to mix things up a little bit with how we wanted to deliver this. So you're about to see in a minute a video. It shows some ships you might recognize. Hopefully, it will show some that you don't recognize. But feel free to get on Spectrum afterwards, take a look, give us a guess at what you think they might be, because we'd love to hear your input.
And I will just add to that as well.
Oh.
We aim to deliver everything you see in this video and more in the next 12 months.
I don't know if you noticed, but there was quite a big ship at the end of that video.
Yeah.
And yeah, just to confirm, that is the Polaris.
Yeah. So, we've done a lot of talking. We'll do a bit more talking about it.
So yeah, okay. Just wanted to touch again on like, why are we doing an RSI ship? Like, what is with that? So the thing about doing another RSI ship is that we've got a really well-established art style for RSI in our universe, and it gives us the ability to kind of train up newest members of the teams on something that's kind of quite a known element. That is absolutely not the only benefit, though. The way we are planning on tackling the Polaris is not tackling it as one ship, but actually we want to tackle, well, anyone that knows our backlog knows we have a number of large RSI ships on there. And our kind of plan is that we tackle that as a family of ships. We don't just tackle one of them and then we go off and do something else for 6 months, a year, come back and do another one, something else, come back and do another one. We want to tackle them all together, one after the other. And what that really allows us to do is just kind of streamline our development process. We're able to, for our more common areas of the ship, we're able to build kits that we're confident in, that we can reuse and we can make the most out of them. And then that allows us to focus our development time and our efforts really on the much more unique and the important and exciting areas of each ship. Tackling them as a family kind of allows us to expedite their development. We leverage the experience that we've got within the team. And it just allows us to, like I say, streamline everything. So first up, we've got the Polaris. Next up, we've got the Galaxy. Then we've got the Perseus. And that kind of closes out most of our large RSI ships. And then we can see what we want to take on after that.
Well, I think that's pretty much everything we want to talk about today. However, before we go, we're going to... Torsten's already stolen the predictable joke here, so we'll do one last thing to show you guys. So let's have a look at the current state of the Polaris in engine in its white box state.
was amazing. Give it up for the ship team, everybody. That was amazing. We're back on the show floor at CitizenCon 2953 to show you more awesome things you guys might be missing if you're not here at the convention center. Come follow me a little bit. We're going to go on a little bit of a journey down just a leisurely Sunday road drive. And when I drive, I take my favorite vehicle for driving, the Drake Dragonfly. That's right. It is back from 2018 with a fresh new pyro paint job that you can see in the digital goodies pack if you purchase it now from the Robert Space Industries pledge store. Check it out now. JRDF did an amazing job making the Dragonfly look super pyro themed. Look here, we have the pyro amalgamated label, I guess you would call that. I don't know what you would call it. I'm not a car guy. I'm not a Drake guy. We have like some very cool details, designs. I'm gonna try and hop on it. Let's see how badly this goes. Like a glove. It's super cool being up here, actually. I didn't think it would be this cool being up here, but it feels like you're about to drive a Dragonfly. If you guys are still here at the show floor, be sure to check out the Drake Dragonfly. I really just want to like drive this thing off the stage. You know that like, what's that feeling you have where you're like on a balcony and you like look over the balcony and you're like, there's a little internal, it's intrusive thought. There's an intrusive thought where it's like jump. My intrusive thought is drive away. And I want to drive away on the Drake Dragonfly right now. This is so cool. We have photographers taking photos. If you guys are interested in looking at your photos afterwards, JRDF will be making those photos available to everybody. I'm sure we'll tweet it out. Galactica, get on it. You know, that's your job. Anyways, I'll cut it back over to Jared. I'll see you guys back here soon. Have fun.
Fight for the mic. Fight for the mic. Just fight for the mic. Just grab the mic when you have to. All right, so we are here with members of the vehicle team. I want to say, at the start of the show, I made it very clear that marketing did not make any of those videos. Developers made any of those videos. I can't help but notice that Polaris took out that Idris really quick. Are you trying to start about 50 different arguments on Reddit?
Oh, yeah. We love for the arguments. Love them.
Polaris for life. After Idris.
Ben, would you like to go on record?
All ships are equally as brilliant as each other.
Until they get what's coming to them.
And Ellen, would you like to revise your answer? For a second, fighter flight contest over in Hall B. The views and opinions of Ellen Batchelor Jr. do not represent those of Cloud Imperium Games, Robert Space Industries, or its subsidiaries. Don't look at us. Ben Parr's off the side. It's like just whatever. All right, so the Zeus. First question that I see a lot of people had on Twitch watching the stream is obviously it doesn't look like the Zeus that we've all known from the lore and stuff. I mean, I think the first image of the Zeus was probably in 2012 or 2013 in that really early lore post. Why did we change it?
Were they not listening to the presentation?
I wasn't.
So there's a few things. Obviously, it was built as a product of its time, both in lore and back in the day.
I was too busy looking at how handsome you look.
Oh, thank you. But also, and I think Ben will probably want to talk about more of this, is we have design languages for RSI now, and it doesn't really fit in with them anymore.
Yeah, I think when we look at reimagining one of our ships, our manufacturers, we didn't want to just release the classic Mini today. We wanted to look at it and
today, so maybe tomorrow?
No. So what we wanted to do was bring it up to standard, both in terms of its quality and what it can deliver as a ship, but also visually. I think RSI has grown as a manufacturer over the years. I think you can see how not all ships roll off the production line in day one. Each of our manufacturers also have a history, and I think it's fine to see progression for that throughout the timeline of our game. Sorry, Zach.
Just say you hate the Zeus.
But it's not just the visuals of it, though. It's important that the amount of time it would take to get your jalopy, because that's why I ask, and up to level.
Oh, here we go.
I didn't do it. He did it. He did it.
This is the real reason.
You can be in the center. You can be in the center now. Go ahead.
The amount of time it takes to actually get a ship, the amount of time it takes to get a ship actually flight ready in the universe, it would be a lot of work to get something that, for the most part, has about the same amount of space as a space shuttle, and you wouldn't be able to use any of the game loops. You wouldn't be able to fill it with cargo. It'd be really difficult getting out. And if we're spending that amount of time getting something flight ready in the universe, we'd much rather give you something you can engage with and do.
I touched you. You touched me.
Oh, it's fine. Do more with. It's far more interesting to get a ship that you can do bounty hunting in, or cargo in, or. He comes over, asks us to do an interview, and wanders off.
It's going to be one of those live streams, huh? All right, we're almost at the end.
Okay,
All right, so enough about what the Zeus isn't. The Zeus, favorite thing, top of your head, what's your favorite thing about the Zeus? Ellen? F the Idris. Mark, favorite thing about the Zeus?
EMP, quantum dampener.
Okay, favorite thing about the Zeus?
The white and black color scheme.
Favorite thing about the Zeus?
Its belly. It's got a really lovely, sleek belly.
Like a space shuttle.
I just had this image of a Zeus wearing Spanx.
Hot belly.
What are you laughing at? All right, so we also talked about the Cutter Scout. Is this the last variant of the Cutter we're going to see? When we first introduced the Cutter, we said it was a platform ripe for future variants. Is this the last Cutter variant that's on the thing, or can you maybe tease something for the future?
Absolutely not. There was obviously that mysteriously third blurred image. So Montreal, the Montreal team, did both of them as basically their first onboarding task into the vehicle pipeline. Both of them are done now. So you will see the third one soon, TM.
You just have a done spaceship and you're not putting it out there.
Strange, isn't it?
That entire talk about the pipeline was BS. You've got a done spaceship. Put it out, John Crew.
No, we've just really streamlined it.
It's about the belly. All right. We're working with diminishing returns here, so we're going to wrap this up. We're going to go back to Dan. He's back in Hall B. I think he's at the merch booth. Dan, what do you got for us?
Well, the opposite of diminishing returns is amazing merch. I am here at the merch booth with some amazing merch that we made just for CitizenCon. Now, if you guys are at home feeling the FOMO, that's fair. You guys should have been here, and I'm very sad you're not here. But don't worry, if you're not here, most of the merch on display behind me is available for you guys to pick up at the RSI Pledge Store right now. There are obviously some exclusive CitizenCon stuff only for CitizenCon attendees. So if you're here at the show floor, come over to the merch booth. The line was astronomical earlier today. It's much more manageable now, so if you haven't gotten a chance to pick it up yet, now might be a good time to make your way over to the merch booth and pick up some stuff. I was given a sweet box as an early Luminalia present, so we're going to do a little bit of an unboxing to show you guys some of the cool stuff. I mentioned earlier that I helped the subscriber program at one point, and one of my favorite pieces of subscriber flair that I was responsible for was the CDF bobbleheads. We have brought them to life, finally. I know everyone has been asking for a long time for us to make these bobbleheads. Sure enough, we did. You can see them. People are blocking the way. Trust me, they look exactly like the ones in-game. They're super cool, super awesome. Again, if you want a little bit of the verse in your home, pick up a bobblehead on your way out. Thank you, Luminalia Claus, for your bobblehead. This is hard to do with one hand. What else we got here? We have this very nice, people keep saying we only make black shirts. We now have an orange shirts. Take that, haters. This is actually really soft. They gave me this for a bit. I'm probably just gonna steal this, to be honest. You guys won't tell, right? You guys, hey, no narking. Everyone chat, be cool. And we finally, man, this is so cool. I've heard about this, but this is like, feeling it for the first time. We have this Black Star Citizen hoodie. You can see on the sleeves we have Xion and Banu. I asked Dave Haddock directly what these said, and his response was, I don't know. So whatever they say, I'm sure it's something very profound and wise from these alien races. Again, I'm just going to steal this, so sorry, merch team, if you were expecting profits on those merch, you're not going to get them. Now, we do, again, have 3 exclusive merch items for people who are here at CitizenCon. We have a Pyro t-shirt, and we have 2 lithographs. I don't know if you can get... Oh, get it. I can't take him anywhere. Truly, I cannot. I don't know if you're able to see that Burnin' Pyro t-shirt off over there. That is exclusive to people who are here at CitizenCon 2953. Also in the middle there, we have those 2 lithograph art pieces. Again, exclusive. This guy, I can't take him anywhere. Who was that man? No one important, I'm sure. But yes, we have those 2 exclusive art pieces for people who are here at CitizenCon 2953. Oh, what's this? Oh my God, that strange homeless-looking man also gave me these AirPod cases with a little Finley attached with it. You know what? Maybe that guy was all right. Whoever he is, I hope he's having a good day. But I actually do need new AirPod cases, so again, like everything else, I'm just going to keep this. I think that wraps it up for me, so I'm going to throw it back to the main convention floor. There's going to be a lot more stuff here at CitizenCon. You guys will see it either later today or tomorrow. See you guys then.
How are you doing, Los Angeles? Boys, a lot of you here. It's great to see you. Hi. My name's David, but everyone calls me Bone. Don't ask. Or maybe ask me later. So my job is to oversee all the technical implementation of the UI across the company. And if I'm lucky, I get to do some programming from time to time. At previous CitizenCon, one in the flesh, in Manchester, I talked about UI tech with my friend and colleague, Zeus Mk II. And we were making new tools and technology to help our developers with, to develop their UI. So that was a few years ago now, and now I'm really privileged to share with you how this technology has been utilized by our talented designers to help improve your experience in the verse. So, along with some of my UI friends that are hidden out the back there, we'd like to show you some of these improvements which are going to help you, the players, navigate the Star Citizen universe. So, why are we doing this? Well, Star Citizen is big, really big. There's so many unique places, massive planets, moons, space stations, rest stops, you know, there's just loads of places to explore. We have a huge range of spaceships of all shapes and sizes, and there's an enormous amount of things to do and see and people to meet, and all this can be shared with friends online. And as we've seen today, as our amazing online technology grows, it takes great leaps, and our online player count grows, the possibilities become almost endless. So how are we going to make sense of all this? Right. Well, one of the main ways we do this is with a user interface, or UI for short. Well, that's where we come in, fortunately, being the UI guys. And we do this in loads of ways that you see already, whether it's your vehicle MFDs, or the HUD, or the kiosks, where you get your spaceship, or you trade commodities, or buy weapons, and all manner of diegetic UIs that you see, diegetic meaning like things in the world that you can interact with. But our first real opportunity is through the helmet visor display. Now, the visor display gives you vital information about your status and the environment around you. But this display has gone through many iterations over the years, and it's been built upon and adapted. And I don't know if who remembers Arena Commander 1.0. That came out about a year after I started, which was primarily space combat and racing, so the visor was geared towards that. And then it evolved with our first adventures into the online universe, and as all the features get added and all these new things, the visor grows and we put things on it to show you, different statuses, and like tells you all about what's going on. But with all this evolution, we sometimes lose focus. There's so much we need to know, and when we need to know it is important. So how do we zero in on what's important and at what time? So leaning on this technology that Zane and I and the UI tech team wrote a few years ago, we're trying to take a smarter perspective and rework the visor for you. So I'm not going to tell you about that.
I'm going to invite Simon Bursey onto the stage, and he can tell you more about it. Simon? You on this?
Hey, everybody. Okay, so Star Citizen, as you know, is a big project which has evolved over its lifetime. Early on in the project, we added the visor, which is the display you see on your helmet when you're walking around the universe in first person. Because the game is always expanding, we often add new gameplay features, and with those come new UI. The various teams slotted pieces into whatever place made sense at the time, but this eventually meant the view became very complex. As you can see, the current live UI can get very cluttered. We have lots of information competing for your attention, so you don't always know where to look, and sometimes the overlaps can make things difficult to read. So, as you can probably tell, the UI team wanted to do a redesign. We wanted to improve the player's experience by presenting the important information in a clear way. We also needed to create a new framework that supports all the existing features and allows us to add more in future. And finally, we wanted to bring the visuals up to the high standard we're setting for Squadron 42 and soon the Star Citizen persistent universe. So how do we go about that? I believe user interface should always be a collaboration with the teams who build the underlying features. So we worked closely with them on a new layout, keeping some pieces, combining others, and maybe getting rid of a few. Once we'd figured out the design, we built a new framework using our 3D UI system, and then we worked closely with the various game teams to take all that complex data that existed before and hook it up to the new user interface. When we designed player-facing UI, we often tried to start with the worst case first, so we can see everything we have to deal with. It was important for us to keep the central area as clear as possible to make it easier for you to see the underlying game. We designed a set of regions that attach to the different parts of the view, and with each of those, we have a set of widgets that can show, hide, and stack when you need them. So, I've told you about everything we wanted to achieve, but wouldn't it be great to see it in game? Does anybody here want to see a live demonstration? Good. I was hoping you'd say that, otherwise it would have been a very short demo. Okay, so we're going to show you some of our new UI running live in the game. Everything you see is in real time, but I have to tell you we've created a special mission just for the show, which is a little different to what you see in the live game. Okay, so as you can see, Bones driving. I'm going to say Bones' name a lot, and the other guys too, so it's probably the most times you'll hear that in any presentation. Okay, welcome to the Orison Providence platform. You may have spotted it earlier, but today is the first time we've shown the new visor we developed and tested in Squadron 42. But you'll be happy to know all the UI you see today is going to make its way to Star Citizen. But this is secret UEE Navy tech, so we'll give it a different look for the persistent universe. As you can see, the display is very clean by default. Many of the elements are contextual, meaning they appear when you need them to avoid cluttering the screen. We've also temporarily hidden a couple of things so we can focus on them later in this demo. Okay, Bo, let's move into the scene, please.
All right.
Okay, when we get a new mission objective, it appears in the top right of the screen. And you can see that our first mission is to repair a radiation leak. We've done a major overhaul of the augmented reality marker system, so we can follow the yellow on-screen marker to get to our objective. At the top of the screen, you'll also see the compass. Okay, Bone, let's head towards the objective. We were already happy with the way the player status widgets worked, showing you contextual information about your character and environment. So we've given them some visual polish and added a few new ones. The environmental radiation here is quite high, and over time, it will wear down our suit and damage the player. Looks like we can see the source of the radiation there. I think somebody's damaged a pipe, so how are we going to fix it? If we were in space, we could use a salvage and repair ship. Luckily, the UEE have some advanced portable tech. Bone, please equip the military multi-tool. The military multi-tool from Squadron 42 has various modes, one of which gives us the ability to salvage and repair while on foot. Okay, Bone, let's use the multi-tool to repair that pipe. Okay. Right, we can see at the bottom left of the screen, the radiation levels are decreasing. So let's head into the scene. Go on, Bone. Let's walk forwards a bit. Okay. Now we fixed the damage, we need to find the enemies that caused it. While we're on the way, you'll notice that the on-foot emissions at the top of the screen. We're emitting infrared, electromagnetic radiation, and also sound. If any of these go higher than the background levels, it will be easier for the enemies to detect us. Let's take a look at the bad guys, Bone. As part of the emissions and radar tech, we also have the ability to scan while we're on foot. If we tap the button, we can do a quick scan to reveal everything, to reveal info about anything that's in our view currently. Okay, Bone, let's do a quick scan. This highlights whatever's in our line of sight. There's also some risk and reward to the scanning system. By holding the button, we can charge our scanner, and this reveals enemies through walls using a more powerful wave. But it does cause a spike in our emissions, which makes us easier to detect. Okay, let's do a charge scan, please, Bone. Okay. We can also see the augmented reality box outs, which give us a summary of what we've detected. Okay, let's have a look at our weapons. Let's get the gun out, please, Bone. Okay, we wanted to help the player see their equipment during combat, so we upgraded the weapons display. As well as the ammo in the gun and the spare mags in their pockets, we also now show the player's explosives and med pens. Okay, let's fight the bad guys. There you can see our new explosives marker, designed to help you spot deadly grenades, mines, and missiles more easily.
I got you covered!
Did you do it? Okay. Well done, Bone. Success. Okay. There's no more hostiles nearby, so let's take a moment to talk about the Mobiglass. The Mobiglass is the Star Citizen equivalent of your smartphone. It has various apps that hook into the gameplay systems. Like all the UI we're showing you today, we wanted to redesign it with the player's usability in mind, to make it look good and also lay the groundwork for future expansion. Let's bring up the Mobiglass, please, Bone. Pretty cool, huh? We've redesigned the interface to give a smoother user experience. We've overhauled the visuals, as you can see, to make it feel more three-dimensional and holographic. This is actually a sneak peek of the UEE military Mobiglass we've created for Squadron 42. This version has a focused selection of apps, and we're going to expand on that when we bring the Mobiglass to the Star Citizen persistent universe. We'll also have more of a smartphone feel in the PU with a wider range of apps. Okay, let's briefly talk about this home screen. It gives us an overview of our health, the environment, and even our ship. We can also check our mission objective. Okay, so that's enough about the Mobiglass. We've got some more really cool UI just around the corner. And to tell you a bit more about that is the very talented Zane Bien.
Throughout human history, as we have ventured towards the allure of the unknown, we have used cartography as a key component to help shape our understanding and make sense of the world around us. Without these systems in place to catalog our experiences and to chart our journeys, we are forever lost amidst our own environment, and we are just running around aimlessly. This is why it is super important that you, as citizens of our ever-growing, ever-evolving, persistent universe, are equipped with the tools necessary to make your ventures meaningful. So, with that said, I want to show you something that I think is extremely cool. So, Bone, our next objective is to go to the map kiosk and download a terminal. Let's go ahead and activate it. What you see on screen, zoom out a bit, what you see on screen is a fully live 3D representation of the environment that we are in. You can see callouts of the various default points of interest. You can pan the map around, you can rotate it, and you can even cycle the floors that you're on to isolate the visuals of the floor that you're on. So our current objective, it's much more interesting if we can actually take this on the go. So let's download it to our databank. As you'll notice, we now have the representation of the environment in the upper left corner of our visor. Now, the thing that's really interesting to note at this point is not all environments will have such a convenient kiosk available. You may encounter run-down settlements, or you might come across a cave that no one else has ever set foot on before. What will happen in this instance is your radar will incrementally update your map, and it will incrementally reveal your environment and save that to your databank. So you kind of reveal it incrementally. So this map, what we see in the upper left corner of our visor, is not really just a map. What it really is actually data. It's our radar. And we can see contacts on our radar as we scan. And it's basically what we have available stored in our databank. So because we have the location data saved to our databank, we can obviously access that via our Mobiglass. So let's go ahead and pull it up in our Mobiglass, because this is going to get really interesting. So, Bone, I would like you to cycle between the different floors for us, please. So you can see this lerping transition between the different floors and marker callouts of our objective and also where we are. I would like to talk a little bit about the tech behind this. What you're seeing is not a pre-baked asset. And I want to reiterate that because all of our environments can be very dynamic and they can change. They can take damage. Perhaps economic shifts might cause changes in the environment. And we can't export totally custom assets So what we've done is we collaborated with our graphics team to enable us to render the environment in this way. And what it is we're actually whitelisting objects that we render and excluding everything that we don't need to render. So in our level markup, we basically have the designers and artists mark up only the bits that are necessary for the map. This lets us have a very compelling visual, but without much of the cost. So I think what we can do at this point, what I want to show you is something very interesting. So we might look around on this map and note down certain areas that might look interesting that we might want to revisit later. We can see some doors on this map, and these doors are entities that are called out on the map, and they may change state. So there can be some doors which have a locked state, which they will display red. And doors that are open will be green. And there are other entity callouts that can happen in our map. So let's go ahead and find a location to put down a pin, please, Bone. Maybe that one. Maybe that door looks interesting. Press T. So what we can do is set a marker, and we can customize the details of that marker. Now, what you'll notice as well is as we set markers, there's metadata that is encoded into each of these markers on top of the customized name that we can specify. So we can mark as many markers as we want in this map. And these are all saved to our data bank. And we can eventually share these markers and even sell these markers on the market. So the thing about this, we can't really talk about markers without mentioning data running. So you might specialize in exploration, whereas perhaps a miner might specialize in the equipment, and they make investments in their equipment. So you, as an explorer, might be in the business of going around and exploring and finding locations that are very valuable to other professions. And the role of these markers are very important in coming up with the data. And yeah, so it's very important. We can basically, when you name your markers, you can make it as maybe obvious, or you can leave it a mystery. So you'll have, when you sell it on the market, you could get rated for how accurate the data is. So the other thing is we have a mission objective as well, and it would be very nice to be able to route to that mission objective. How do we get there? That is another purpose of the map, is basically navigating and letting us know the way towards that objective, towards a destination. So let's go ahead and plot a route to this objective. So we can see a line being drawn from where we are up the stairs to our destination and where we want to go. So you will no longer be lost amidst all of our super complex environments. And what's worth mentioning at this point, and what's really cool, is this under the hood is actually utilizing another piece of tech, AI pathfinding. And so what that allows us to do is leverage other existing tech to basically, it does all the heavy lifting. We just make it look pretty. So because of that, there are certain cases where the path might be blocked. It might have a locked door, or there might be a fire that is in our way. The AI pathfinding will account for that. It will go through doors, it will handle elevators, and it will handle fires, locked doors, and it will just handle everything. So that is an example of sort of a piece of tech that we've leveraged under the hood to help us achieve this goal. So, one last thing we can do at the moment is we want to ensure that there are no more hostiles in our way as we make our way to our objective. So what we can do is we can send out a ping. Bone, if you send out a ping, please. So the scanning will also be represented in the map in the same fashion as it is when you're in FPS. So we know that there's no more hostiles. Let's go ahead and make our way to our objective. As you can see in the upper left corner, we now have the route line represented, our destination, and the distance it takes to get there. As we traverse this path, the path automatically updates, and if you deviate from that path, it will recalculate the route you need to get to your destination. So there's our buddy. He's flying in. So we'll make our way up to the Carrack here, to the right. You'll also notice the pin that we've laid down, as well as our marker objective called out on the map. And as you'll notice, as we head up the stairs, the floor will dynamically change as you head up the stairs. If we can get past this first bit, if we don't trip up. So as we make our way into the Carrack, it's not just environments or caves or cities. We can represent the ship on our interior map. And it's totally seamless as you transition between the two. So let's go ahead and pull up our Mobiglass again and get a wider view of our ship. So we are now on the technical deck, but we can also see the other floors. If you traverse the floors, Bone, just to demonstrate it. Here's our cartography deck. Down one. And our habitation deck. So you will have noticed from a previous presentation that this was very similar looking, right? It's utilizing our tech. So not only will this benefit you as a player, but it also benefits us as developers, because we generalize this system so that other developers can leverage our map to create compelling gameplay. So other teams can leverage our tech, and we leverage the tech from other teams, and it's a circle of life. And I think that's just too cool for school. So we've been talking about environments, cities, representing ships on our map, maybe planet terrain. These are quite, our universe is quite big, right? That's only a small fraction of what our universe is. What happens? Have we tried this? What happens if we just take your mouse wheel and just zoom out a little bit? Keep going. Keep zooming out, all the way out, all the way out. Let's go, let's go. So, it's not just the interior map, it's not just the radar, it is the map. It is one single unified system just across different scales. And I want, at this point, we are above Crusader, and at this point, I want to invite Emily Hansen onto the stage to talk about the map as seen at this scale. Thank you very much, everybody.
Hello, CitizenCon! Are you ready for this? Bone, do you want to click on the marker? As you all suspected, this is the star map. I'm so excited to be here today to reveal this to you all. I hope you're excited too. Now, I think we all know the current star map needed a bit of work, and we've done that. Now, mapping the universe is no easy task, but we've taken some big steps forward with this upgrade to make it so much easier for you to navigate the stars. Before we dive into the details, let's just take a second to admire Crusader's new look. Bone, why don't you take a look around? Much like the interior map, the star map is holographic. And this lets us add some cool interference effects and details to our planet textures. You can also see our improved player marker and that we're currently at Orison. The player and location markers have merged at this scale because they're so close together. The player marker takes priority, which is why the marker displays the player icon and color. By smartly merging with bigger points of interest at larger scales, the player marker always remains visible to you. You'll always know where you are relative to points of interest near and far. So, is everyone ready to see more? Bone, let's take the step back button. That's the one on the right over here. So we can take a look at Crusader and all of its moons. Yeah, so here we are, Crusader, its moons, orbits. You can also see that labels have received a major visual update. They're now fully 3D, and this gives them a really cool perspective. Most labels are aligned to the galactic plane, and they rotate with the map. Bone, give the map a spin. Bone, can you tilt past the horizon, please? Cool. When we do this, the labels flip so you can always read them clearly. Labels for city markers and outposts work a little bit differently. Bone, let's double-click on Selin now to focus on it. Surface labels face the camera and appear when they're in the central part of the planet, reducing on-screen clutter. Bone, want to show this in action? Markers on the far side of the planet fade out, so they don't take focus from the locations you currently care more about on the near side of the planet. Bone, can you double-click on one of the points of interest? As we selected this marker, its label will stay visible at all angles. So far, we've showed you that you can use buttons and double-clicking to jump to objects you're interested in. But wouldn't it be nice if you could also freely zoom out and into locations? Shall we try it, Bone? Let's zoom out until we can see Crusader. We wanted to ensure you have freedom to move around, but this flexibility requires us to be really careful about how and when markers appear. Markers need to disappear when they get too small, but also stay visible when they're still relevant to your view. This isn't simple because objects in a solar system are vastly different sizes. Think about the size of a star versus a planet versus you, the player. You're kind of small compared to a star, right? Our solution is a technique we call cosmetic scaling. This allows us to draw a marker at its real size when we are close to it and artificially increase its size as we zoom out until we reach the point where it collapses into larger points of interest in the hierarchy. You can see this in action here. There's no way Crusader and its moons are this size at this scale in reality. They've been scaled up massively so you can see them. Bone, let's zoom out a bit more so we can see the moons disappear. You can also start to see Crusader's orbit line around the sun here. But before we move on to that, let's zoom back in so we can see everything come back as we get closer. As well as zoom, you can also pan around the map unrestricted. Bone, feel free to have a quick look around. As we draw closer to a marker, the cursor automatically magnetizes to it. This ensures you never lose track of what you're trying to view when you zoom in. No more zooming in on empty space. Bone, let's use this technique to take a closer look at Yayla. The magnetic cursor does not require us to click on markers. Keep zooming in. Bone, can you keep zooming in? Thank you. You can see that the surface markers appear without us needing to select Yayla itself. Imagine how much easier finding that outpost will be now. Crusader, as you all know, isn't all there is, though. We've got a pretty big universe out here. Do you want to see some more? Let's have a look at a location further afield. Can we just pan to Calliope, maybe? Bone, let's give that a try. Yeah, I think we're getting lost. Pretty sure we can all disagree this might not be the best strategy. So what can we do? Bone, let's try clicking on the middle button over here. This returns us to our previously selected marker. As I mentioned, we did not select Yayla, so we've gone back to Selin. So now we know where we are. That's a step in the right direction, but we're still not at Calliope. So we need to find a different way. Bone, could you use the step back button until we can see the whole solar system, please? And there it is. I think Calliope is one of Microtech's moons. So if we double click on that bone, we should be able to see it. And there it is. Bone, let's pan to it and then zoom in so we can see that magnetic cursor in action again. Can you zoom in, Bone? Thank you. It's so cool to see more of our moons and planets and how different they all look. Okay, so this is great. But what if I hadn't already known where Calliope was? Surely there's a faster way. We've got you. We've provided a drop-down that lists the points of interest in the solar system. Bone, want to expand it now? We're actively working on ways to improve the way this list is presented to you, to make it even easier to find what you're looking for. And yes, this will include search functionality. But for now, Bone, let's use this to go to Aerial. I absolutely love zooming around on this map. Bone, want to find Area 18 for me? So, Area 18 is currently on the dark side of the planet, it seems. Of course, it's not just planets and moons. Bone, how about we take a look at Security Post Korea? It's quite a long way down, isn't it? This is where the upcoming search will really come in useful. Bone, want to zoom in a little and show off our holographic model of this station? Bone, can you also drop down again, please? Thank you. As you may have noticed, the recent list in the drop-down populates as you click on locations in the list. It will remember your 3 most recent selections, so you can use this to quickly return to places in case you want to check something else again. Bone, let's use this to go back to Aerial. Okay, so we've done a lot of exploring. I think it's time that we head back. We could do this by selecting Orison from the list, but we also have our own marker that we can take advantage of here. The eagle-eyed amongst you may have noticed that the player marker clamps to the edge of the map, keeping it visible to you no matter how far away you go. To get back to our position, we could double-click that marker, or we could click the first of the navigation buttons to zoom straight there. Now, I'm sure many of you have been wondering if we can go back to our carrot map from the star map, just like how we got here from the carrot map just a few minutes ago. So let's see what happens when we focus on our player marker. Go ahead, Bone. All right, so yeah, here's our Carrick again. Being able to simply zoom between these map contexts lets you draw meaningful connections between what's on the ground and what's in the skies like never before. Bone, just for fun, let's zoom all the way back out so we can see the entire Stanton solar system. It's just so cool to watch the verse open up before our eyes. With all these new possibilities for moving around the star map, you should never find yourself lost again. The controls are so much smoother and easier to use than the star map you're all used to, as I hope Bone agrees. Knowing that what we've shown here today is just the beginning for the upgraded star map. You saw pinning in the local map, and we'll add this to the star map before you get it. Just imagine being able to mark something interesting you find out there in the verse and then sharing that location with friends, just like Zane said. Exploration is about to get a lot more interesting, and we're doing everything we can to ensure the star map is your brightest window to the stars yet. And now, let's welcome our intrepid demo driver, Bone, back to the stage.
Thanks, Emily. Thanks a lot. So we're really, really excited about getting all these features into your hands of the players of Star Citizen and Squadron 42. We know they're going to make a huge difference to the way you make your way around the universe. So let's just quickly review what we've seen. We've rebuilt the visor display to give you a better understanding of the environment around you. With a new minimap, with the integrated radar and ping, and it will help you find your way around. There's a new Mobiglass coming with its sleek new design. We're improving all the existing apps, and we're going to develop some new ones too along the way. So we've got a video now. And then there's our interior map technology, which will truly help you understand your surroundings. Better awareness of your surroundings and threats, exploring new mapping new areas, pinning locations for later and sharing these with your friends. Or the Idris. That looks great. Some more of Horizon. And of course, our entirely new integrated star map. With its new interface and, let's face it, a much needed refresh to the user experience. No more getting lost. A whole new perspective. With all these upcoming features, where will you explore today? Thank you very much. Cheers.
All right. Sorry. I was back there trying to figure out how to reprogram my Alexa to respond to Bone. Bone, add Cheerios to the grocery list. Bone, rescue the hostages. Dave Haddock, if we don't have that in the narrative, I'm going to find you. Guys, that's it for day one of CitizenCon. What'd you think? That is a heck of a day one. You want to do it again tomorrow? We saw Star Engine and all the amazing improvements that are coming to Star Citizen and Squadron 42. We saw the next step in the evolution of resource management and the birth of multi-crew gameplay. We saw the ship guys. And of course, come on, the star map, the interior map, everything. I often joke that we're just like you in many of the same ways. We want the same things. We need the same things. We have all collectively, all 1,300 of us working for Cloud Imperium Games, been like, when Star Map? When? To see it. So good. So yeah, this wraps up day one. I'm going to tell you that Hall B is going to be open for about another 2 hours. So if you haven't had a chance to check out the Pyro Playground and all that stuff, go ahead and do that. Tomorrow, be sure you come back. We got character advancement. That's Ian Leyland, Sean Tracy, Forrest Steffen, and Andre Perez. I I really want to tell you what you're going to see, but you're not going to want to miss it. If you thought the opening to day 1 was hot, check out the opening to day 2. We got life in the first person. We got our FPS crew. They're going to show you how all of these things integrate into the FPS combat experience. We got taking flight with Yogi. Who doesn't love Yogi? It's another live demo where they're going to show you the space flight and atmospheric flight experience that's been developed with master modes and through Squadron 42. We got Living on the Edge and Destination Adventure, a 2-part look at all the new locations that are coming, the Pyro system, the Stanton system, and I've been here 9 years. I got to make it to 10. So yeah, everybody, from the bottom of my heart and standing here in front of the 1,300 people who make this game possible, thank you for joining us for CitizenCon. Come back tomorrow, 11 a.m. Pacific. We'll see you then. Day 1 was great. You ain't seen nothing yet. Take care, everybody.